So new videos on the seriousness of the Iran nuclear threat. And these new videos go viral. In 3 minutes, we will speak to the filmmakers behind these things. You need to see this before you decide whether Israel would be justified in attacking Iran.
Everybody knows that they must be stopped. But why isn't anyone doing what we all know needs to be done? The answer is one word: fear.
And now to a story grabbing worldwide attention. A series of web videos getting more than 2.5 million hits in just the last couple of weeks. One got 1.7 million views in 4 days. Explaining, these videos do, why Israel would be justified in taking out Iran's nuclear program with military action, whether the United States likes it or not. The bold messages put together by a group of Israeli filmmakers. Here's just a brief clip.
The Iranians carried out a test to launch a Scud missile from a barge in the Caspian Sea. Many people believe that this is what the Iranians would like to do with the United States: put a missile in a cargo ship going off of our coast. From 100 miles off our coast, we've never seen it.
When Mahmoud Ahmadinejad talks about a world without America not only being desirable but achievable, he could mean a strategic electromagnetic pulse attack.
An EMP weapon, meaning a small nuclear bomb, detonated above the center of the United States would literally take down the entire power grid of this country.
Those filmmakers join me now. Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel both represent thelandofisrael.com. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. So you actually work on this TV show in Israel. It's the largest English-speaking TV show broadcast from Israel internationally, but you put together these videos that are all about how Israel would be justified in preemptively bombing Iran's nuclear facilities. Why? You tell me why. Let me start with you, Ari, on this.
Well, you know, this video is really a protest against fear. We're facing the greatest challenge of our generation, of our lives, and we simply don't have that luxury of fear. It clouds your judgment, but most of all, it's a lack of faith. And the very fact that Israel exists as a Jewish state is a miracle of God. And we need to understand that it's not in the United Nations or the European Union or even the United States that we need to take an accounting. If we act with the highest level of morality and of courage and of clarity and of integrity, and that leads us to understanding that we need to preemptively strike Iran, then that's what we need to do. And we can't be looking and asking permission. When we attacked the Osirak nuclear reactor in Iraq, the world, including the United States, condemned us. And 20 years later, they're thanking us. When we saved the hostages in Entebbe, nobody liked seeing that, but it was a miracle, and we were able to do it. So if we act with the courage and integrity that we need to act with, let the cards fall where they may.
Jeremy, to what extent is this aimed at the United States, our leaders, our citizens? Because you do spend a fair portion of your second video, which has gone super viral. That's the one that got 1.7 million hits in 4 days, talking about the consequences to America if Iran is left unhinged.
Well, I think that Israel and America have been a strategic partnership since Israel's founding. But I want to make it very clear, we're not advocating war. On the contrary, we're advocating peace. We're saying that if Iran has a nuclear bomb, there will never be peace in the Middle East. It's a game changer, not only for Israel, but for America as well. The whole world, all of the dynamics will shift. The bad guys will have the guns. And we need to realize that when evil arises in the world, it attacks the Jew first. The Nazis, then came Pearl Harbor. In the 1990s, buses were blowing up in Jerusalem. It got to 9/11 in America, but it started in Jerusalem. And right now, Iran's rhetoric is focused on Israel. But don't kid yourself. Israel is the little Satan. America is the big Satan. This isn't just Israel's issue. This is an issue for all those that believe in freedom, that believe in biblical values, that live by those values. It's a war against good and evil. And now it's time for the forces of good to unite and to take care of business.
Ari, you make that point in your videos, and you talk about how, in your view, Americans realize that that is true, what Jeremy just said, and yet we rely on, as you pointed out in your first answer, fear, And more than that, a cognitive dissonance, you posit, to allow us to say, we don't have to worry about Iran. That's somebody else's problem. We can kick that can down the road. I just want to show the viewers a clip of you talking about that psychological dynamic.
It's a subconscious denial of something so terrifying that the gravity of the threat is totally denied, despite the catastrophic consequences of inaction. In Israel, we don't have the luxury of deluding ourselves with rose-colored glasses. For us, allowing ourselves the indulgence of cognitive dissonance would cost us our lives.
Ari, do you feel like most Israelis feel the way you do on that score?
I think that a large portion of them do. When I speak to our reserve unit, many Israelis feel this way, and we're getting our gas masks. We're taking the precautions that we need to take to be ready, but we're not paralyzed by fear. But when I'm in this country, right now I'm in Washington, I'm on a speaking tour sharing these ideas, and I see American Idol and Kim Kardashian, and when I see the precipice that civilization is on, the magnitude of this challenge, it's shocking to me. You know, America is facing a dilemma just like we are in Israel. America is fighting for its soul. It was founded on biblical values, values of liberty and freedom and kindness and truth. And if America doesn't live up to those values, and the gauge to whether America is living up to those values is their unwavering support of Israel. And when a country loses the mission upon which it was founded, it's done. It's just a matter of time.
Jeremy, thank you both so much for being here. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Shalom.